Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha, this is Geebz, your old composer here at the Decomposer Lounge, pulling back the layers, dissecting the suggested tracks that come from you. And from the channel, from the pile, my list is the band ERRA. Now I have done a song from ERRA before and decided to look it up. And they started in 2009 in Alabama, and progressive metalcore. And now that I'm beginning to get used to the band genres and stuff like that, or different genres, I can now, when I look at a genre, kind of figure out what I'm going to catch here. So, but anything with the word progressive in front of it, I know what that really means is that all shit can happen. It's let's do this from top to bottom. Anything counts as long as it still has a little bit of or something of that nature. All right, guys, the song that I am doing is Stand By Dementia. Okay, sorry, I'm a little slow this morning. I woke up, my eyes were puffy, I had an allergy. I was like, I gotta go jump in the water. The water heals everything. All right, sorry about that. All right, guys, let's do this. Like usual, thank you so much for your support. This is ERRA with the song Dementia. All right.
Appear physically, cataclysm is bound to everything. The invasion, there is no escaping, inescapable. Light speaks like on silence, unstable.
Okay, so this is a long song. I'll try to keep this short. Is there multiple singers in this? Not saying there's no two ways about it. I'm not saying that a single singer is not capable of doing that really heavy stuff and then singing this like super powerful, glass-breaking, kind of clarity, sizzly voice. But I just had to ask there. Love how they open up this thing with these three rhythmical arrangements that are so unique. You have the left-right hard-panned guitar that's doing the riff work, but then there's another guitar, it sounds like, that's kind of closed in a little more, that's popping off these little harmonics in rhythm, in a rhythm pattern, opposite from this. And then the bass, I thought, where's the bass? Is he in unison? No, the bass has got his own rhythm going through that, while obviously the drums is hammering away and stuff. Really, really unique. Complex, it sounds, in the way that it was written, but really easily digestible. So in other words, I'm in my head, I'm calculating, I'm in my notes, there's notes going through inside my brain. If you guys ever wonder what's happening in there, it's almost like a live staff and stuff, and I'm going dee 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 dee. And so I loved how they do that. I also loved how his voice started off as gnarly as it did, and then it just fully power sizzled into that clean sound. But that's why I asked if there was, because I have come across bands that have multiple singers in it and stuff. So just had to stop and just talk about that rhythmical opening and that. Oh, and the harp. That's when I was doing this. I'm sure you guys knew what it was, but whether be it a harp synthesizer or a harp sample or whatever the case is, I thought that was really cool. I've used that before as kind of like a stopgap emotional reset, in some tracks.
Waves of process, no activity. Bring me back.
Just what I want to briefly mention about what we just heard with that guitar arpeggiation. It sounded like it was like pushing into a lead, but more of of the lead melodic arrangement more than like a lead, like in a solo. It really sounded to me like he was up on his neck pickup. And for those of you who are the pure listeners that come and hang out here and have a cup of coffee and listen to me yap over your favorite song, it gives it a warmer, kind of a slightly hollower kind of tone. So, which is a really, that I was listening to, I was going, man, what a great, you know, a lot of time when you do lead work, you're kicking it down on your bridge pickup, you want to cut it, you want an edge, but it just sounds like he has it up on the neck pickup. So it gives it a warmer, pseudo-hollower kind of sound to it, which doesn't battle in the tones that's already grinding away, you know, with the rhythm guitar that's happening behind that. If in fact he did use the neck pickup on that, excuse me, excuse me, that was badass. Man, that whole outro was absolutely wonderful. absolutely insane. Just around those 3 chords. And what happened was at around 4 in the song, obviously not here in the video, but or after I just started up, you know, from my last stop. First of all, that last couple of notes that he hit with his voice were just like dog whistle high, but sounded fantastic. But they brought it back down, and when they brought it back down into that little keyboard pad, or that nice ambient wide pad that they were playing, kind of sounds like strings, for those of you who are the pure listeners. It kind of gives you that soft pad. That's why it's called that. The guitar chords that are being played there, I'll tell you what I love about this is that there's still the nuances of the hand moving on the strings that you can hear. Some people would sit there in engineering and say, well, let's just clip that out. And what I'm talking about that is that when guitar players are playing a chord and they move to another chord, you know, I mean, there's a lift off. There are different techniques to get, you know, to different, you know, parts of the neck and stuff. But in this case, the next chord change, you can hear a little bit of the squeaking of the strings and stuff. And I like that because that becomes part of the soundscape, not only of the arrangement, but it makes the instrument feel live. What they did in this whole, I didn't have, and apparently this song was part of another song because it started off like it was a crossover. Remember, I just get suggestions. I click a link, I fire. I don't know what's before or after, if this is part 1, 2, or 3. But wherever this is in the album, this seems to have been something that gnarly in a storyline. I'm talking cinematic since I don't have the lyrics. Pretty tough and heavy in the storyline, but this last minute and a half or 2, you know, of sorts was like a little bit of hope. With the chord changes that were being played, that major chord at the end that kind of opened up, and it seemed like there was some play with the guitar lead that drifted in and out of seconds and fourths and stuff. And for musicians, you know what that means. There's always some kind of relief or something a suspension, if you would. Anyhow, it was killer to hear such really great, powerful metal composition. Remember what I said earlier about prog? If it's prog, anything goes. And for them to take the arrangement and composition aspect of this track into maybe something that is more unusual, let's say, for the band's discography, being I don't know it. Who knows? Maybe they do this kind of stuff throughout all of their work. But anyhow, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was what I love about it is there's the prog progressive aspect of it and the ambience of it, where they put it in and stuff. But at the same token, like I said at the very beginning, how they set up the arrangements. And even in that other part, I don't know if I mentioned, but you saw me doing this, and you can lightly hear the harp arpeggiation going on in the back. You know, and that's the beauty of engineering. You know how I talk about the engineers. When they sit there and you have all these elements to fit in, and you know, sometimes for you musicians or engineers, you know what I'm talking about, at least back in the days when there used to be hands on boards. You start here, and then before you know it, at the end of the song, before the mix, for some reason, all the faders have ended up because you wanted to hear a little more of that, and all of a sudden you're adjusting the volume pots and stuff like that at the top to try to, you know, and then you go, oh shit, I gotta start over again. Not really, but it's a funny joke with engineers. Excuse me. Maybe this is more than an allergy. Oh shit, I hope not. All right, guys, listen, thank you for hanging out. A little bit of a late drop, but I'm a little bit of a late drop. All right, guys, listen, have a killer day today. Tomorrow, I have a big day for you if you are a fan of Between the Buried and Me. I do. All right, guys, take care. Aloha.
All right.